Yeah. So
was talking about the basement, you know,
alright,
making that transition from the basements to the.
So now you rock at the basements,
Yeah.
and your name is getting a little. Who was you rocking with? Now you say you was like 16 of y'all.
Oh man, the LA Rap Masters.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
it started out with the Grandmaster 3,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then it went to the Grandmaster 3, LA Rap Masters when it was a bunch of us, and that's when everybody started branching out after a while and forming their own little circles. And we had the Phenomenal 4, my man Mark Miller and them, and then Sensational 5. Actually, when I was with the Phenomenal 4, I got down with the Clientele Brothers. Clientele Brothers was like, they was doing their thing already in the neighborhood.
Okay.
You know, like on a bigger scale, like really putting on shows. Them and the Rappamatical 5 and.
So how did you get down with them? They just heard, they just seen.
Yep, me and Johnny Quest. It's like we was those two. Like Quest was crazy on the turntables, and I was getting crazy on the mic, and we were young.
Yeah.
We was little dudes. You know what I'm saying? And Eddie OJ and Will Seville from the Clientele Brothers, they got wind of us and was like, oh, and they right from the hood.
Yeah.
Invited us to come to one of their rehearsals. We was like, wow, we going to the Clientele Brothers rehearsal. You know,
these
it was
like
crazy.
big names back
Exactly. And then after that, OJ was like, yeah, we want to put y'all down with the crew. We was blown away. And once that happened, you know, it was a whole nother level, man. I was introduced to 40s and everything. But, you know,
so now you get down with the Clientele Brothers. Now that put you at another level. Now is this at the point where you start doing the actual park jams?
Well, actually, the first park jam that I remember going to was when Eddie, with the Clientele Brothers and Rappamatical, with the Clientele Brothers versus Rappamatical in Montebello Park.
Okay.
Word, T-Bird and T Productions and all of them had their equipment out. And I was blown away, like this is local, like right in the neighborhood, outside.
Yeah.
You know, this ain't the basement, this is the public.
Uh-huh.
You know, it was no drama or nothing. It was like a free concert and they was battling, and that's the first one that I went to. I wasn't able to touch that mic yet.
Okay, you didn't have
Yeah,
status.
you know, this is like I said, this is before I got with the Clientele Brothers, so I was still finding myself in the game. But damn, that shit blew my mind. And then
now the first time you get on,
the first time that I was outside
at a major jam, like a major place jam,
I was getting my name up. You know, I was getting my name up, and it was at a 231 Park Jam. You know, just doing my thing, and I think I rocked
the junior high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I rocked there, like going into the end of the summer. I was going into the end of the summer. Matter of fact, when I rocked there, I got called out. And I'm bugging, like, you know, this is the first time that I finally get to really rock out.
Yeah.
And somebody's calling me out.
Yeah.
So that was like one of my first public battles. Because I was used to battling dudes either on the street or on a tape. You know, just going back and forth. But this dude called me out in front of a park full of people at 231.
Yeah.
And I'm not popping then.
Okay.
But I'm gonna tell you one thing. After that battle, I was popping for the rest of the winter, through the rest of the summer, through the winter in school, and I was like the local, the dude. Because you know, he put my back up against the wall. I was already battle ready because that's what I came from. That's what birthed me. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Telling stories and battle rapping because that's the first piece of hip hop that I got. So when he put my back up against the wall. I had to do what I had to do. And, you know, I came out with the bigger end of the stick. You know what I'm saying? So,
Now, you said, when you got down with the Clientele Brothers, at what point did you meet LL?
I met L.
I want to get into your relationship with LL too, but I know that was kind of early, so
I
that's
met
why
L.
we get there early.
This is when I was still kind of new to the Clientele. No, I wasn't really new to the Clientele Brothers because we did performances at the Racket Club and a few shows and all of that. But we had mutual friends. It was my man Dave Molicio was from my neighborhood, and Cool J had somebody cool somebody, Mellow C or Mellow E, from his side, you know, and these two dudes went to school together.
Farmers.
Yeah, St. Albans, they're farmers down by the rock, Ilion and all of that. Okay. But Cool J and this brother went to the same school, which may have been right before Jackson. He may have been a freshman in Jackson, and I might have been a freshman in, because we the same age. I might have been a freshman in Springfield. Okay. So these two dudes is arguing about who's the best in their schools or whatever. So my man Davis arguing about me, Mello is arguing about J Ski. You know what I mean? Okay. So they hooked it up for us to battle.
LL.
Yeah.
His
name is J Ski.
Okay.
Right. So they hooked it up. We were supposed to battle at USA roller skating rink in Elmont.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? Flavor Flav used to run an event every week, Black Spectrum, stuff like that, and you know we were gonna battle there because that's where all of the local cats went, and you know whatever. And now you know how when you meet a rapper when we younger and you met another rapper, how y'all would just compare notes. Yo, spit something for me. Let me check out what you got. That's what me and L did. Okay. Me and J Ski. That's what we did. You know. Okay. We compared notes.
So before the battle, y'all meet. Before the battle. Y'all, how did y'all meet before the battle?
It was we were introduced, you know, yo, what up, bro? Yeah, what up, man? You know, and it was like that, and then you know, and mind you, I was already doing my thing in the parks. I was already doing what I do.
So you was already MIkey D.
Yeah, I was me already, and he was on the come up. Yeah, and then you know, we started comparing notes. I was impressed. I ain't gonna front, and you know, not to take nothing away from him. I can't. I was impressed because, first of all, his vocabulary was nice, his flow was nice, and the thing that bugged me out the most is we sounded alike. We had the same growl. At that age, we both had that same energy and that same growl because he was hungry and I was hungry.
Because I'm not going to lie, the first time I heard MIkey D, I thought it was LL.
Yeah, a lot of people get it confused.
And I was like, it was a tape of you doing your drawers.
Yeah.
You remember? And I think it was a beat. I think the beatbox might have been the guy from the Roots or something like that.
It was either Rozelle.
I think it was Rozelle. I think it was one of them. And at first the cadence, the voice, and everything was so similar. Yeah. And I thought it was LL, and I was like, nah, this dude sound like LL. And then I had to, somebody put me up on, nah, that's, I didn't know at that time.
But Joe, you know what the crazy, and this will clarify everything, this will clear everything up. Like, a lot of people say that L bit my style. But like I just said, I bugged out when I heard him because it reminded me of myself. Like, damn, we sound alike. Yeah. You know, now I don't know if he was studying tapes or whatever. I can't say that. But all I know is when we first met, he already had that style. You know, he was already doing it. I was already doing what I do. We didn't bite from each other. It was none of that.
Yeah. But I just think that the styles were similar and the voices were similar.
The styles were similar, and because I was already out there,
and people from the same area.
People thought, and then he started hanging around. He was coming around a lot. And this is the time I was, with the Clientele Brothers too. I actually introduced him to the Clientele Brothers, and he wanted to get down with the Clientele Brothers. But Eddie OJ was like, "Nah, we good right now. Don't call us, we'll call you." But he didn't do it like that. He was like, he's dope, but we're already.
Y'all was already situated.
Yeah. So
now explain to the viewers how J Ski became LL.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, we was running with a crew. Sensational 5, it was Playboy MIkey D, Ever Loving Kid Ice, Lovable Little B, Loverboy TC, Romantic Lover Snow. We all had them nicknames and stuff like that. And J Ski was like, I gotta change my name or whatever. This is what he kept on arguing with himself about. And then one day, me and him was on the boulevard, Merrick, probably walking to get some 40s and shit. And he was like, I changed my name. I was like, what's that? And he was like, Cool J, like Cool James, Cool J. I was like, yeah, that's dope. And I'm saying, he should have a nickname too, like one of those nicknames like we got, Ladies Love, Playboy. Playboy, Romantic Lover. And I was like, this nigga always talking about he wants the ladies to love him. He gonna make these love me, this, that, and other. Won't you be like the ladies love Cool J? And it was a suggestion.
Yeah.
But he ran with it, and that's how LL was born.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, the significance of that is kind of crazy. You ever think and say, wow, like, because that LL Cool J, I think, makes the difference. The name makes a lot. So that LL.
Absolutely. But, you know.
I've seen him give it up to you, no doubt for him. He actually says that in an interview that you gave him to.
Yeah, I suggested it to him, and you know, he took advantage of the suggestion, which was a good thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, you rocking that jams. Now, the first time, one of the first, because you actually, I like to do a lot of the guys that really rocked in the parks, and a lot of them, most of them kind of really never were able to make it out the park.
Right.
You one of the few that actually did have the chance to make it out the park and go on and get some mainstream success.
Right.
But, so explain, I'm going to get to that now. I remember the first jam I heard you on was like a diss record. Was that your first record?
Which one was that?
With the
Girls?
The Girls. With the, not a diss, like an answer. That's when like the answer record.
Yeah. Symbolic 3, the show.
The show. Now, was that your first?
Actually, that was the second record.
Okay.
The first record was with the Clientele Brothers.
Okay.
And it was when Jesse Jackson was
Hold on.
Nah, come on.
We don't allow.
We good. Got the pause button.
That's right.